Jerry back with that Theatrically Jerry, and today we are going to be reviewing this amazing piece of innovation. This is a 400 watt rechargeable fog machine, and it is for the stage and television. And as you can see down here, it says for film and television smoke machine. Included with purchase is a lithium ion battery charger, and so this is going to plug into your wall. It is a DC power. It is coming in at 12.6 volts at 2 amps. We'll go over the charger a little bit later on in this review, but just want to show you everything they've included. You're also getting this little bag full of fun. We have the user manual here. It's actually pretty decent printout for a user manual. The pages are glossy, usually they're matte. It's just going to give you the basics on how to operate the fog machine. You're also going to get your precautionary statements so they can save their behinds, what's included. Also, you're going to get your parameters here, and there's also some different languages, just in case English isn't your first language. Looks like German. But yes, definitely keep this. It's going to show you everything and how to use the fog machine. Next, you're going to get a RF remote as well as a receiver. So you have your transceiver and your receiver. And it's actually a pretty decent remote. It reminds me of the one that came with my American DJ VF 1300 series fog machine. So I was glad to see that they included a RF remote. This fogger measures in at 8.5 inches long by 9.12 inches tall by 4.3 inches wide, so not very wide. This is not a traditional form factor for a fog machine, and we will get into that later on in the review as to why it's this form factor. It weighs in at 8.81 pounds and feels very hefty and sturdy in my hands, so that's a plus for the build factor. That is due in part to its steel construction. I'm all for innovative equipment, and this fogger is very innovative. If someone were to have told me we'd have a full power fog machine that's portable and rechargeable 10 years ago, I would have said not possible. But thanks to batteries becoming more powerful, we now have the energy to power these compact foggers. The front of this unit has your traditional fog nozzle. This is responsible for outputting the fog, and it does have a little safety ring around here to protect you from accidentally touching the burning hot nozzle here. The side of this fogger has something rather bizarre looking. It's a radial dial for adjusting the temperature of the heater core. You don't traditionally see these on fog machines. The manufacturer recommends setting the temperature to 280 degrees for best output. You can, of course, adjust this depending on the type of fog solution you are using, but you never want to overheat fog solution as it causes harmful byproducts, so keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that this is in Celsius and not Fahrenheit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the back of this atmospheric. There's a lot going on back here. We have our LCD backlit display here, so this does light up. This is going to show you your battery charge status as well as battery percentage left. To the right here is an interesting choice. There's a DC charging port for charging the massive 21,000 milliamp an hour battery. I would have preferred a different type of charging port, as barrel connectors are not known for their longevity. I was happy to see that they included a rubber flap that protects the port from fog solution and liquid intrusion. Below the DC port is an on and off rocker switch. This turns on the fog machine without turning on the heating element. Above the LCD display is another rocker switch. This is a lighted rocker switch that has a piece of plastic housing here that protects the switch from accidental activation. I was glad to see that it's a lighted rocker and allows you to easily see whether you have activated the heating element or not. I was also happy to see that they protected it with a plastic door. So this is going to protect it from accidentally being turned on. There is also a hole here that you can actually put a lock on if you wanted to, but I don't find this atmospheric that serious. I mean, if somebody accidentally turns your fog machine on, it's not that big of a deal. But anyways, there's one of those as well. Turning this switch on means you have activated the heating element and the heating process will start. So from the time you flip this on, it takes about 8 minutes for the heating core to heat up to the temperature that you set with the dial over here. Above the second rocker switch is a 3-pin port. It looks very similar to a DMX port, but it's not. It's used to attach the included wireless receiver. So you also get the RF remote and wireless receiver as I showed you earlier in the review. And this is for activating the fog machine from a distance. To the right here is a gauge for determining how much fog solution is left in your tank. I would have loved to have seen a illuminated tank so we could see how much fluid is actually left in here, because as you can see, I do have this filled, but you can't really tell where the level is at. So I would have loved to have seen an easier way of viewing that, especially in the dark. The top of this fogger has a generous textured carrying handle for easy transportation. To the left and right of the carrying handle are your red and green LEDs. So if the green LED is illuminated, it means the fog machine has reached optimal temperature and is ready to fog. And if the red is lit, it means that the fog machine is not ready and it's heating up. So those are pretty typical for fog machines. Something that's not traditional is this rocker switch right here. So this switch here, you simply push back to spray the fog. As soon as you let go of it, because the switch is under tension, it will go back to its default position. So as long as you're holding it, it's going to spray fog. When you let go, it's going to stop. I actually think that's kind of cool because when you're doing it manually, you want as much control as possible, and this gives you that control. It also has a protective rubber element on it here to protect your fingers if you're using this a lot on the field. So I love seeing that. You can also trigger the fog machine with the included wireless remote. So this is the receiver that plugs into the back of the fog machine. As you can see, it looks like a 3-pin DMX cable, but it's not. And you're also getting your RF remote here. And what I like about these remotes, it's very similar to American DJ's VF 1300 series fog machine. It has the door that pulls down, and when you select the button, you're going to get an LED illumination, so you know that you've pressed it. You're also getting a telescoping antenna here for a longer range on your RF. You're also getting a keychain, so you can actually keychain this to the machine so you don't lose it, but you can also put it on your keys if you wanted, or any of your tools. This is running at 315 megahertz, so it's on the 315 megahertz channel. So basically all you're going to do is plug this into the back and it's ready to go. You can activate it with the wireless remote control. And last but not least is the fog solution tank here. It's pretty typical. You have a black feeder tube going into a cheap plastic cap with a hole in it. This is the cheapest part of the entire fog machine. It does have a metal filter, so I was glad to see that. That keeps all the particles from entering the fog machine, so it does act like a filter. So the only problem I've had with this fog machine so far is this cap. I wish I could find another one. It doesn't want to thread tightly onto the fog solution container, so it'll just keep spinning around. It'll get tight, but if you tighten it a little too much, it'll pop right off. So while it's on right now, I don't really feel comfortable with tipping this machine over or upside down or anything like that, because the lid might fall off of it. The tank can hold a dismal 250 milliliters of fog solution, so you will need to refill this if you're using it heavily. I found that I could do several long blasts and not see a noticeable drop in fog solution. So the 400 watt heater doesn't really consume a whole lot of fog solution, so maybe that's why they decided on a smaller tank. Alright, so I know you've all been waiting for this moment. Let's go ahead and power this on so we can test out the output. So to power this on, you're just going to hit this on switch. That's going to turn the entire unit on, plus your battery power display. And then we are going to go ahead and open up this plastic protective housing and turn the actual heating element on. And we're going to have to wait. I am going to time this to tell you guys just how long it takes for the fog machine's green LED to illuminate. So it took exactly 8 minutes, as described by the manufacturer, for this to heat up to optimal temperature. Alright, so since I'm in my studio, I'm obviously not going to open this thing wide up. I am going to take it to my secondary studio where I can do that. But let's go ahead and just give it a short blast here just to see what it looks like. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do a sound test. I have removed my external microphone to give you guys a better idea of how loud this fog machine is when it's activated. I'm going to go ahead and just give it a couple quick blasts so you can get an idea of the sound generated by the fog machine. So it doesn't actually have a loud motor whine to it. It's kind of just an on-demand fog, so you're not going to hear that vibrating pump going off, feeding the fog solution into the fog machine that you would normally hear on much larger fog machines. So that's good news. It's actually pretty quiet. The only thing you are going to hear, which you can't really get around, is the fog coming out of the nozzle here. You are going to hear that little whoosh of fog, so keep that in mind, but you are not going to get an annoying vibrating pump sound. It takes about 10 hours to charge the powerful 21,000 milliamp an hour or 21 amp rechargeable battery. It's a lithium ion battery, and you know how I said earlier in the review about how this fogger isn't the traditional fog machine form factor or shape? It's extra tall, and that's because the battery is stored down here underneath and takes up a significant amount of room. It's also what is responsible for the weight of this fog machine. That explains its untraditional form factor. One 10-hour charge will give you 3 hours of continuous use. I got about 2.5 hours of use, and that was using it heavily for some of my reviews. As you can see, the charging brick here is lit up green, and if you want to plug this in to charge it, you just plug it into the barrel connector, and as you can see, now it's red. Red means it's not fully charged, and as you can see, it's only at 69% here. So it is going to charge the battery. One thing to note is this will turn green and red quite often, because this specialized wall adapter is made specifically for charging lithium-ion batteries, and it has to do so very safely. So it actually cycles on and off, feeding power into this. When this is at 100%, this will stay solid green and won't cycle on and off. A couple of things I noted is this power adapter is rather cheap and flimsy. It does get hot to the touch. I would have preferred a much nicer wall adapter with this fog machine. I do not know if I can find a better one online, but I will look around. It does have to be specifically for charging lithium-ion batteries, because if you overcharge one, they will explode. So I am sticking with the one the manufacturer has deemed safe for use with this. Another thing to note is this does get considerably hot to the touch when it is operating, so always carry it by the handle up here. It's probably not going to burn you, but like all fog machines, the metal housing is used as a heat sink to transfer heat to the outside, so it does heat up considerably. So keep that in mind as well. All right, so I've laid down a measuring tape here, and it's 6 feet from the fog machine to the measuring tape. We're going to see just how far the throw is of the fog, or how much fog is pushed outwards distance-wise. So let's go ahead and see if it can hit 6 feet, and then if it can, we're going to see just how far it can do past that. So let's go ahead and test this out right now. Easily passes the 6 foot mark for throw. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel at Theatrically Jerry. I do a lot of reviews like this on budget-friendly atmospherics, DJ lighting, stage lighting, and equipment. If you have any questions or comments about this fog machine in general, go ahead and leave them down below. I do respond to all questions and comments as quickly as I can. And also, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I appreciate you guys for watching, and please subscribe to @Theatrically Jerry.